You're listening to Up in Your Business with me, Kerry McCoy, and I'm speaking today with Mr. Brad Close of NFIB, a Washington lobbyist group working to protect the rights of business owners to own, operate, and grow their business without the burden of heavy taxes or legislation. Before the break, we talked about how he got in this business. He was a political science major who thought he'd go to Washington for a couple of months. 20 years later, he's at the same company. He loves working for NFIB, which you can tell by the trajectory of his career. He's gone from being an aide for a congressman to now the president of NFIB. And there's nothing really else like NFIB in Washington that has such a big voice that lobbies for the small businesses. And like you said, they've been around 80 years. They've got power up there. So you've had a busy week. The NFIB's annual fly-in week was this week. Tell us about the week and how it went, what it is, and why it's so important.
So we had about 150 small business owners come into Washington, D.C. for 2.5 days. Hard for them. They take time away from their business, which most small business owners cannot afford to do. But they came in and they heard from some good speakers from Capitol Hill on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we went up to the Capitol Hill to make sure they met with their congressmen and women and their senators, and that they could hear directly from their constituents who own small businesses, who create jobs in their districts and their states, and to tell them what Washington should be doing, and more importantly, what they should not be doing to help small business. You know,
I did that one year.
I was going to say, are you waiting for your invitation?
No, I did it one year when I was a really young entrepreneur. I cannot remember who invited me, and I think it was Diana Baker's father. He was big at NFIB, Avis Rent-A-Car. He was a small business owner in Arkansas, and he invited me, and I went up there with him, and we met with David Pryor, I believe. It's really impressive. You don't get to go into their office and see actually where they work and what they do. I mean, it's a big opportunity if someone's interested in that to go up there and do it. I'm not sure we accomplished anything.
Yeah. It depends.
But it was a great experience.
Yeah. Some listen, some don't, but it's still worth explaining, even if they don't vote with you.
Do you remember what some of the issues were that they were talking about?
Yeah. So our main one was the small business deduction. When Congress wrote this, it's a great provision for small business for pass-throughs, but it expires in 2.5 years. So at the end of December 2025, that deduction goes away. It was not made permanent. So for small businesses that are pass-throughs, they're looking at a pretty significant tax increase in 2.5 years for the year 2026 if Congress does not make this provision permanent. So we've got a bill coming, but that was the message, what this means to folks, what it means to job creation, that they need to get on it and make it permanent.
How do you feel about it?
I feel like we're going to get it, but it's going to take a lot of work. So really,
didn't they just do it for big companies?
Well, the big companies who are filed as corporations, they got a 21% rate. And so if you're incorporated, a corporation, you get a 21% rate, and that rate was made permanent. But for small businesses, that are organized as pass-throughs, LLCs, S-corps, partnerships, their taxes have to flow through their personal income tax return before it goes back into the business. So this 20% kind of helps get them closer to a level playing field with their corporate competitors. Not quite, but it helps a lot.
Tell our listeners what an S-corp is.
So an S-corp is kind of a shareholder. It's a pass-through business. So the key is you're filing your business taxes get filed on your personal income tax return. There's no separate business tax return like you would if you're incorporated. And
most people's personal taxes are less than the corporate taxes.
That's correct. But if you're a small business owner and you have a good year, your personal tax rate might be very high because of that business income. But before you invest any of your profits and what you've made that year in the business, it's got to go through your personal tax return. You pay taxes on it. Then it goes back into your business. So if you had a really good year, which a lot of small business owners, their income will fluctuate from year to year depending on how the economy is doing, how well they did. But you could have a year where you're in an upper bracket because your company did so well, but Congress doesn't always remember that money goes back in the business. It's not going all in the owner's pocket. They need to grow. They need to pay their employees. They want to hire new employees, buy equipment and all that. So that education on Capitol Hill, and a lot of times we're talking to people who, like I was when I was up there, never owned a business.
That's right. They don't realize that every time you make some profit in your company, you're going to reinvest it into the community, into the people, into the employees.
Yeah.
And they always just look at the bottom line and go, oh, they made some money, so let's tax it.
That's exactly right.
If you liked this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the picture in the center of the screen. For more of Kerry's interviews, click either video on the right of the screen. And as always, thank you for watching.